I wanted to ask you about that. I wanted to know if you knew the connection between COVID-19, the current pandemic, and UFOs and aliens and all of that.
Like the only thing I know of on a high level is like they're supposed to release some information about this
Yeah.
stuff, but I don't know the details or like anything about that.
Yeah. So I don't know if you remember this. So this came out a couple, I want to say sometime in early last year. And there was something that was shared from the Pentagon, and they released or declassified some files. And we saw something that come up, and I'm going to bring this up here.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
So what we just saw there was an unidentified flying object. That's we don't know what it was, and it looks like these pilots they noticed something that doesn't appear to resemble a flight. It doesn't appear to resemble whatever we know. It looks like a pill shape. That's what they explained it as, and some of the how they recounted it was that it was flying, it stopped, it hovered, it switched its trajectory, changed directions, and it was accelerating at speeds that didn't make any sense. And there didn't appear to be any like propelling system. You'll see the thrust, and we'll see kind of the energy release, which is smoke and whatever else, as it's propelling or as it's accelerating. This had none of that. They had no idea where it was coming from. So people were like, "Yo, what's going on?" Like we want answers. And I guess people have pushed the government enough for answers, so much so that around the end of the year, Donald Trump, the former president, signed a $2.3 trillion COVID-19 relief bill. And somewhere like buried in this relief bill, way down in the comments, was a section that required the intelligence agencies that research these phenomenon to release information within 180 days to the general public. They wanted to have declassified information about everything that they know about unidentified aerial phenomena. So the quote directly from here is, so the Senate Intelligence Committee said in a comment that it directs the Director of National Intelligence, in consultation with the Secretary of Defense and the heads of such other agencies, to submit a report within 180 days of the date of enactment of the act to the Congressional Intelligence and Armed Services Committees on unidentified aerial phenomena, everything that they know about this. So this has essentially triggered a countdown. I believe the date will be sometime in June. I might be, so 180 days. Yeah, so this has essentially triggered a countdown to 6 months to when they will release everything that they know on UFOs.
Bro, that's wild. Let me ask you this though. Like a lot of people like get weirded out sometimes, or like they don't believe in it. But like, do you believe in aliens, or like UFOs, or
yes,
what do they call it, extraterrestrials?
Yes, and I'll say why. I think it's incredibly short-sighted of us to think that we are the smartest people that exist in this universe. You know what I mean?
I also think like that fact that they talk about this universe as like this never-ending thing.
Right.
Like, how the hell are we the only living things in this entire universe? Like that just like sometimes I go to sleep, I'm just like, you know what? Like that's a really like weird question to like think of, but like, or thought to think of. And like there's no fucking way that we're the only ones out there. Like there's no way.
Right.
Like, it's so weird. I remember this interview again. I'm bringing up Joe Rogan again.
For sure.
He was talking to this, like, I think he was an Area 51 scientist.
Right.
And so he was like an engineer that had gotten hired by Area 51, or I guess like the United States Air Force Defense. I don't know what it's called. Like
Balthazar.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. So he got hired, and basically, what his experience was is like within the first few like months, he started seeing like actual like what's the shape? Flying saucer shaped vehicles, or like aircraft, I should say, within the hangars. And you know, he describes well on the podcast saying that, you know, there was, I think, 5 to 12 or something around that range, and each and every one of them were different.
Right.
Right. So that I'm just thinking about this. I'm just like, okay, like I remember Bob Lazar, I think he asked questions around like, are these like fighter pilot jets or something like that? And they literally told him, no, these are not fighter pilot jets.
Right.
And so he's just like, what the hell is going on? Right. And so he describes this propulsion system. Um, and basically, I think the core reactor or something is something that we've never seen that exists on this planet, or at least within our planet. He describes basically how normally when we have energy created, there's heat
Right.
radiating, but with this propulsion device, or I guess reactor or whatever it was, there's no heat being generated. So this thing was so efficient in generating energy that it didn't even create heat. And so I'm just thinking like, dude, this guy can't be lying, right? Because like he worked at Area 51. Like, is he just bullshitting us? But it's just like wild to think like, you know, this type of technology can freaking exist. It's just like we haven't been exposed to it. Like I feel like there has to be some alien things going on and whatnot in the background. Like you've seen all these ancient like civilizations have hieroglyphics and stuff like that around it. So I don't know. I feel like, you know, this release, I don't know how much they're going to talk about. First of all, one thing I don't understand is like, why is it always the United States that kind of has this shit?
Right.
Nothing against you Americans, by the way, but like, why is it the U.S. always has access or, you know, find these UFOs? I don't know. I don't see the Russians talking about this, or the Chinese talking about this, or anyone else talking about it. It's always U.S. like for some reason.
So that's a great point. Do you think it's because they're hiding this to benefit personally from it, or not to create some kind of mania among the people? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like one aspect is just like this like COVID thing is like to mentally prepare people for like the news of a potential like alien or whatever UFO kind of sighting, and this is what exists and this is what we found.
That's
But
an interesting point.
right? And then two, like to your point of like mentally prepared, like if we just said there's aliens, let's show you what they are, people will lose their shit.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
100%.
And so I think that's just going to create too many problems where the government's trying to control maybe the information. But again, God knows what the hell Area 51 has. Or I remember like I think it was a trend. It was raid Area 51.
Yeah. Yeah, when that was trending, that was supposed to happen last year, I think.
Or like 2 years ago, something like that. And then they literally warned people like, you will be shot dead if you try to like even get remotely close to this area.
Yep. And that makes me wonder, right? Like, you can't just hide things like that from your people and then not expect us to think up ideas or conspiracies
That's where
or whatever.
conspiracy starts from, right?
Exactly. Like, if there was transparency or some form of answers, at least we'd shut up about it. But like, don't tell us to shut up and not spread all this misinformation when you're not giving us the information. So how is it misinformation when we don't have the actual information? You know what I mean?
Yeah. How much do you think they're gonna actually release, or in terms of tangible, real, credible information in this thing?
So that's a great question. There's two parts to that. I think one, it's the request wasn't part of the report. They included it in the comments to the report. So think of it like an amendment. So I feel like they might just come back in June and be like, hey, it wasn't actually an official request, so we're not doing it. But if they do it, I feel like they're just going to tell us like, hey, we found some, you know, aircraft and in a forest, it crashed down. We don't know where it's from. We've just been researching that. Like, I feel like they'll leave a lot of the juicy details out and just give us like, yeah, we found something that fell in the ocean. You know what I mean? What do you think?
Yeah, that's what I feel like. I feel like they've made such a big thing out of this. So I feel like it's drowned in like a lot of things that have been going on.
Yeah.
But you know, it's I feel like they might release a lot of information in terms of like, this is what we've researched, but not really give you tangible evidence or some crap.
Right.
So it's just like a teaser, but like they're not going to maybe release anything. That's what I feel like. They're still gonna, if there are like real aliens or they have real things like that, hopefully Bob Lazar is not lying, stuff like that. Like the story he told, I was just like, my face was just like, what the?
Yeah, that podcast was incredible. That was a ridiculous episode.
I think Rogan had a recent one where some guy got abducted by the alien or something.
Yeah,
that one was kind of weird, but even Rogan was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
but
I'm gonna be honest. I couldn't even get through that full podcast because I felt like there was the conversation was like, I don't know, it felt weird.
Yeah,
I was intrigued in that one, but I mean, he's been saying the same story since like the 60s or something. So like maybe he's not lying. Who knows? Yeah. I remember hearing this on Hot Boxing podcast from Mike Tyson. He was talking about something with the idea of extraterrestrial beings and things like that, and he was like, think about how, you know, when you were a kid, you're sitting outside and you're watching like an anthill and you're just watching like these bugs walk around. He's like, now think about who's watching us like that.
Yeah, yo, that's pretty fucked up.